because Kim's too afraid to tell the truth. She
Yes.
just had to say, we did it. Edward didn't know. It's all our fault. What? You would have gotten grounded?
Not even that.
Eddie Scissorhands is just banished again to be alone forever. Kim got to go on and live her life. Looks like she had kids and they had kids and she's having the time of her life telling stories to her granddaughter. Like, does it make you feel better, Kim?
Edward is up in the snow.
Yeah, Edward's up there, happy as a pig in poop, sculpting ice sculptures and making it snow. When in reality, he died years ago of loneliness.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared. And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. And today we are going over the movie Edward Scissorhands. I did not watch it. I've never seen it before. So this was a first time for me. Anna's only watched it, 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 10, whatever. It's been a while since I've watched it, though.
All right. So let's start with some information before we get it. Had a $20 million budget.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
It had some set pieces. And it
my God, yeah.
Yeah, it had some stuff that looked like it would have been hard to do.
Scale models.
Yeah.
The mechanical stuff.
Like, well, his outfit alone.
Right?
And at the beginning with that castle, I was actually sitting there going, I really hope they come back to this castle. It looked expensive.
It was like, honestly, that set, like all the sets, the set designer was making magic on this. And I was like, God, it's gorgeous.
I think that's not English. That might be for you. I only speak English.
Soy una live. She's saying she's only here. She's the only one in the live.
Oh, okay. Do you speak in English?
She might not, but it doesn't matter. She's here for me.
All right, let's bring up the box office. I have no idea. I'm guessing it did okay. I had to guess.
I remember it doing very, very well. Like, this movie was a thing.
There we go. So Edward said, "Oh yeah, worldwide, domestic 56. So even on 20 million, it probably made a little bit of money, and then it made 29 worldwide for 86. That's not bad. I mean, it's not monstrous, but it's
also a Tim Burton. So I mean, it's already a very niche.
Yeah,
like he's not an across the board filmmaker. But I'm sure in like after box office, home rentals, video purchases.
Well, it opened in 13th place. Now it only opened in 2 theaters, so that's not bad actually.
Yeah.
So each theater made an average of almost 80,000. That's pretty good for those theaters. And then I guess it went wide and opened 3rd with 6 million. And around this time, oh shit. Okay, so Home Alone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Came in first. Look Who's Talking 2, which I believe was Christmas oriented. Then Edward Scissorhands, and then Dances with Wolves, Misery. Nothing says Christmas. Like
Mermaids.
Misery.
Oh, that's another one movie.
Yeah, The Rookie. That's with Clint Eastwood and Charlie Sheen. 3 Men and a Little Lady. Yeah, Predator 2's down there. Rocky 5. Lots of movies, but it came in 3rd, so it did okay. Can go to Rotten Tomatoes. I am guessing, well, actually, let's go here first. Let's take a look at Edward Scissorhands taglines, because if you don't have a decent tagline for this fucking movie, you are not doing your job right. Okay, so here's ready? The story of an uncommonly gentle man.
Yeah, that's not really a tagline, but I mean,
Edward was here.
that's
Sure
not
was.
bad. That's not bad.
His story will touch you. Sounds.
I mean, yeah.
I need an adult.
I think it would have been better if they said his story will cut
No, it's not done. Sorry, I stopped there when I needed an adult.
Okay.
His story will touch you, even though he can't.
Okay, that's kind of nice.
Yeah. And this was more like it's more like a sonata. Edward lived alone where he could hurt no one and no one could hurt him until the day the Avon lady came calling.
Fucking Avon.
His scars run deep. The story of an uncommonly gentle man. Innocence is what he knows.
That's weird and clunky.
Yeah, that one's not good.
I don't like that one.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, the director of Batman and Beetlejuice invites you to his newest creation. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look while we have it here. This was the main. There's a bunch of different posters. This was the main poster for those listening. It's just in the back left-hand corner is the mansion. Down below is the little town with a bunch of his stuff that he did with his hands, the gardening. And
Topiaries.
Yeah, it's him looking down with his scissor hands. It's a good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now, I'm going to guess that. Get off of there, Captain America. All right. I'm going to guess they were pretty good.
Yes.
Am I wrong? No. 59 reviews from critics comes in at 90%.
Yep.
250,000 plus comes in at 91%. You may start with do you have yours up?
I do. I have mine up.
You may start with a couple good ones while I search for
the bad ones.
Didn't like it.
Okay, this one from Christy Strauss from Cinematic Lovelies. This is one of Burton's best, and it's one of aesthetic power and emotional resonance. It's a magical odyssey of invention and human emotion with a distinguishable tone and look. This one is for the weirdos. Another one that it looks and feels original and new, startling, yet at the same time comforting. That's from Michael Bronsky from Gay Community News in Boston.
All right, here's one from Renee Jourdain of El Nuevo Herald, Miami. Mm-hmm. Burton was clearly in line with a poetic atmosphere, but escapes him in the end. And I agree, and we'll get to that.
Ooh, Lee Patch from the Herald Sun in Australia said, one-of-a-kind fairy tale for adults from director Tim Burton, which I think I really agree with because it doesn't have the happiest of endings.
No. And we'll get to that.
Yes, we will.
Because I was a little pissed. So is my 7-year-old. Depp cuts a haunting figure, while Wiest is typically excellent. The rest of the actors are forced to play characters who are either underdeveloped or overcooked, and the broadness of Burton's approach eventually leads to a wholly unsatisfying resolution. 2.5 out of 4. That was Mark Burton from Creative Loafing.
Josh Larson from Larson on Film says, perhaps the cinema's most enchanting parable about the misunderstood and alienated artist. And he gave it a 4 out of 4.
And Jonathan Rosenbaum, who looks like, what's his name's cousin? Who's that guy that goes on the wheelchair? He's really smart. He talks like a speak and spell.
Oh. Why can't I think of his name right now?
I know. He's only the most famous scientist ever. Stephen Hawking.
Thank you.
Yeah, he looks like a Stephen Hawking's cousin. An original movie. Yeah. Huh? Who'd I say?
Hawking. You said Hawkins, and I was like, is it Hawking?
He doesn't care.
I can't remember. Normally, his name is in my brain at all times because he fascinates me.
Yeah, and he's everywhere.
Yeah, but right now, when you said what's his name, I was like, God, I can't figure it out for the life of me.
His name is Jonathan Hawking Rosenbaum. An original movie, though not Tim Burton's best. Actually, I put up trivia to that effect where even Tim Burton said he doesn't consider this his best movie, but he does consider it his favorite.
Mm.
All right. So now let's go to IMDb. Is it going to be as high as 9?
I don't think so.
I don't think so because the internet's has a really, really great way of evening things out for better or for much worse. But I have a feeling this too is going to be high. Yeah, well, 542,000
Wow.
review people that at 7.9 out of 10. That's pretty good
That's very impressive.
for over 500,000 reviews.
Yeah. That is pretty impressive.
All right, so where are you here? Ooh, lots to choose from.
Yeah.
You may start with 10 since I did 10 last.
Okay.
Get out of here, Captain America. Jesus, no one wants to see you.
Those drop down ads get on my nerves so much.
So much.
Because it's almost impossible to find the way to like close them because they hide that little like minimize X thing. And you're like, I don't care. Not that I don't care. I will watch the movie, but I'm like, come on. Anyways, so here from Smells Like Cheese. Smells Like Cheese has to say a dark fairy tale about a man who only wanted to fit in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Monica 4937 says beautiful employment of color, sympathy, and human nature. 9 out of 10.
Felipe Manuel Neto said one of the most beautiful films about the right to be different. 8 out of 10.
Equal parts fairy tale and satire. Ethan Edwards. Did you just say Ethan Edwards?
No.
Oh, okay. Ethan Edwards, 7 out of 10.
L. Marucan, 82, said, a flawed classic whose screenplay needed some trimming. Gotta love the irony. 6 out of 10.
Okay, I'm going to go on a rant here with 5 out of 10. Disappointing. I really wanted to like this movie. Netscape Navigator. Overhyped bizarre film, which makes no sense. The Nameless Czar. Not one of my favorites. Tweetinator. Only the first half is good. True Batman. Whatever. And I would give it a little higher score than this, but I kind of agree with them a lot.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. For our 4 out of 10, a few nice shots. That's all, folks. It's kind of harsh, but okay. Although I will say, anonymous, but Dilpreet 000. He's another 4 out of 10. He just said, just another love story, but here the protagonist has scissors for hands.
Yeah.
It was like valid.
Nothing in this movie makes any sense. MJB 784, 3 out of 10.
Seth M. Landers. Oh, did you just do 4 out of 10?
No, 3.
Oh, 3. Okay. I thought I heard you say 4 out of 10. God, am I going deaf?
I might have.
I'm also could possibly be going deaf. So Seth M. Landers, pointless and mean-spirited, 2 out of 10.
Stop. Just stop. Edgekilla Jero, 1 out of 10. That was the first one. And it's just worst movie made, worst movie I've seen. Yeah. But there was only, actually, to be fair, there were only out of the 802 written reviews, only 7 of them were ones.
Yeah. Like the majority were very, very positive.
All right. Okay. So taglines, poster, box office, reviews. Oh, let's watch. Last week we did Extinction. And then before we ended the show on YouTube here,
yes,
we watched our trailer watch for Edward Scissorhands. So let's watch our trailer watch and our predictions, and then we'll come back and we will review it. Next week, we are going to watch a movie I have not seen. Believe it, I love Tim Burton movies. I love Johnny Depp, not because of Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, Nick of Time, 21 Jump Street, Johnny Depp. I have liked Johnny Depp from the beginning. I don't know why I've never seen this. Movies look so weird, and then it just kind of fell through the cracks.
I'm
Edward
actually surprised you've
Scissorhands.
never seen it.
Yeah, I am too. So I have never seen it. I know people love it.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch a interview with who's the guy that played he's in Nosferatu as the hunter.
Why do I want to say Nicholas Hoult? That's not
No,
right.
that's the guy, the real estate agent. He's been in probably 200 movies, very well known. I can't think of his name. He was in the Jesus Christ movie.
Wait, who is he playing?
He plays the hunter. He was the Green Goblin in Spider-Man.
Oh, Willem Dafoe.
That's it, Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe, I watched an interview with him where he actually got offered a role in Edward Scissorhands. And he said he read the script and he was like, I don't get it. And then when the movie came out, he said he went and watched it. And he said within 10 minutes, he was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
And he was disappointed that he didn't take the role.
Honestly, it's one of those movies that in theory, you should not get it. Like, it's a weird movie. It's weird. But for some reason, it is a classic love story that is weird.
All right. So what do you remember about it?
I remember a lot. A whole lot. Yeah,
You've seen it more than once then, I'm guessing?
I have seen it a few times. I'm not one of, like, it's not one of those that I have on repeat all the time. So I've only seen it maybe 5 or 6 times. What? There are some movies I've seen literally like 50 times. So I've only seen this one like 5 or 6 times, but most of that was like, I think the last time I saw it was like at least 10 years ago, maybe even 15. Like, it's been a while. But it's one like Winona Ryder, Johnny Depp. There's a great cast and it's so fucking weird. And it's so like just quirky and odd and it's very unique. And so I remember like a good chunk of the story. There's still some parts that are going to be a little fuzzy for me, but I remember a lot of it.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the trailer. And then make a prediction.
Avon calling. This is some huge house, isn't it? Hello? Why are you hiding back there? You don't have to hide from me. I'm as harmless as cherry pie. Those are your hands? Those are your hands. I think you should just come home with me.
Joyce, I just saw this strange guy driving with Peg. Did you get a good look at it?
Hi! Sisters.
Whoa! Heck of a handshake you got there, Ed.
Kim, this is Edward who's going to live with us.
Well, this must be quite a change for you, right, Ed?
Those things are cool.
Can I bring show and tell on Monday?
He's a highly imaginative character. It seems clear that his awareness of what we call reality is radically underdeveloped.
Eddie, you take my very breath away. Do you have a girlfriend?
Is there some special lady in your life?
Hey! Old doctor, skewered kid.
Just a scratch. The power of Satan is in him. I can feel it.
All along, I felt in my gut there was something wrong with him.
From Tim Burton comes the most incredible tale of a most unusual character. Edward Scissorhands.
Hold me. I can't.
Ugh.
Look, man.
No, it looks very Tim Burton.
Very Tim Burton.
I just remember the Seinfeld episode where the barber's he complains about his nephew always watching Edward Scissorhands, and then near the end of the episode, the barber is like, I watched the Edward Scissorhands. He goes, that Johnny Depp, he making me cry. Yeah, it looks very Tim Burton.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I'll like it. I don't know if I've seen a movie of his that I didn't really like. I haven't seen all of them, I don't think, but
yeah,
for the most part, I do really enjoy Tim Burton movies. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Beetlejuice, like it's hard. Batman. I mean, yeah. No, this looks pretty good. I don't know why I haven't seen it.
I don't know why you haven't seen it either.
I'm not going to go out on a limb and buy it.
No,
but
you don't
I
have
am.
To, though. It's on Disney Plus.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So I will. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, especially because I haven't seen it, and I can see why I didn't like it back. I didn't want to see it back then, really. And then it just years went by and just forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this was one of your picks, right?
It was, yeah. Because I was like, can we do this one for Valentine's Day? It's a love story.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
All right. Welcome back. And for those watching, whether it's on YouTube, let us know, or wherever you get your podcast, let us know below if you actually liked Edward Scissorhands. What is your initial thoughts?
I think it is definitely still super Tim Burton. I forgot how gorgeous it was. Like, this is a gorgeous film, and it's still sweet and sad. And it's like a little warm hug for me, but that's because I've seen it a few times.
Right.
What are your initial thoughts?
I watched this with my 7-year-old. It is everything that I thought when I didn't want to watch it. This is like, ugh, lame, girly. Oh my God, could this be any more? Jesus Christ. But for all those reasons is why it was very good.
Mm-hmm.
It was a walking, talking, moving fairy tale.
Yeah.
The music, oh my God. Danny Elfman's music of this was
so good.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna be judged. This is so whimsical. Don't fucking judge me.
But it was. That's just an accurate term.
And it made those and that music made the colors and all the different shots. Yeah, it made it that more. I did not like the ending because
understandable.
We'll get there. I do have a gripe to pick. But yeah, overall, like the movie was great. I can't believe I haven't seen it until now.
I can't believe that either.
But it was really good. My 7-year-old really liked it. I was 45 minutes into the movie. My 7-year-old's been sick all week. She came out. She was feeling better. She sat down. She was watching for a minute. She was watching for a few minutes, asking me a bunch of questions. And then she's like, you start from the beginning? I'm like, come on, man. I'm like almost halfway done. So I had to go all the way back to the beginning and watch it again. But she didn't like the ending either.
Well, I mean, look, there's a part of me that wants a happy ending at all times. Like, I want the bullies to get their comeuppance. I want, the underdog to win. And I want everybody to live happily ever after. And it's just a reality of life. And sometimes when I don't get that happy ending, like, I'm kind of disappointed I don't get it. But at the same time, I'm like, but it's accurate. I mean, you don't always get the happy ending.
No.
I'm still a little miffed about it too. Don't worry. You're not alone.
Well, I'm sure I'll rant about it in a minute. All right. So for all those watching, if you liked it, let us know. If you didn't like us, let us know what you didn't like about it. But let's go over this movie. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, okay, here we go. One snowy evening, an elderly woman tells her granddaughter the bedtime story of a young man named Edward, who has scissor blades for hands. First, young actors playing old people. Stop it. It doesn't work. It takes you right out of the fucking movie. That's why you hire old people.
Well, yeah, because immediately when you see her, you're like, oh, it's a young person that they just put makeup on.
Yeah.
Like the makeup wasn't terrible, but it was still distracting.
It was and her voice was distracting, and her
voice
movements
was distracting.
Yeah, it's like you could tell it was Winona Ryder trying to sound and move old.
Yes, 100%.
And that's why, like, even James Cameron didn't put what's her name in old people makeup on Titanic. He used an old person. You think you're better than James Cameron? Tim Burton? Is that what you think? Many years earlier, Peg Boggs, a local door-to-door Avon saleswoman, not having any luck in her neighborhood, tried to sell at the decrepit Gothic mansion where Edward lives. I did like this, introducing all the ladies around town. All of them. All of the women, the main women, from the Jesus one to the girl from 2.5 Men, the floozy, the whore. They're all great. They are all great actors.
Yes.
All of them. Which really, I love movies when they get even smaller parts with great people.
There are so many talented actresses in this.
Yeah.
And actors too, but mostly actresses. Like it's a very female forward.
Oh yeah,
film.
they make the movie.
Yeah.
Down. Yeah.
100%. And you meet them all and they're such distinctive characters. And then you have Dianne Wiest, who's just fucking killing it as Peg. And like the first one.
Yes. Yeah.
Making those like the face movements or the hand movements when she's talking about like and blush. And I was like, oh my God, she's really doing it.
Yeah.
And then like Helen, because that's whose door she's at, is like, I've never bought anything from you. I thought I'd try. Okay, thanks. See you later, Helen.
Yeah.
Bye, Peg.
And they're all friendly. She's all friendly with her.
Yeah, and like the saleswoman act drops, and I was like, oh, that's fantastic.
Let's see. Where am I here? Oh, the creation of Edward, where the Gothic mansion where Edward lives, the creation of an old inventor. Edward is an ageless humanoid. The inventor homeschooled Edward, but died from a heart attack before giving Edward hands. You think he would have done that way before, but anyways.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah. Leaving him unfinished, Peg finds Edward alone and offers to take him to her home after discovering he is virtually harmless.
I don't know about harmless.
I don't know how
she was like.
It was a huge vetting process, but
I think I can help those scars with my Avon treasury. Come with me. I had to. I'm going to tell you very honestly. I had completely forgotten Edward's origin story. Like I had, and I was like, "Wow, this is. How did I forget this?"
Yeah. Peg introduces Edward to her husband Bill. Again, he's great.
Yes.
What's his name? Alan Arkin.
Yep. Alan Arkin.
He's pretty funny in this movie. Their young son, Kevin, who looks so familiar because he was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but after a bit, he just stopped.
Yeah.
But I did see Honey, I Shrunk the Kids a lot when I was a kid. So, and their teenage daughter, Kim. Edward falls in love with Kim. Yeah, by looking at her picture. Despite,
Edward hasn't really been exposed to people.
No. Yeah, you see one girl and you're like, hey, that's for me. Despite her initial fear of him. Yeah, so they do a really good job before Kim even gets home because she's away on a camping trip with her friends. I love how the women are all gathered at the end of on the corner trying to figure out who he is. And they're out there for a while because the men start coming home and they all disperse.
It was the greatest kind of depiction or caricaturization of suburb traditional lifestyle.
Yeah. Because they all look to be at home. They all seem to
all the women are at home.
Yeah.
And they're not working except for Peg, the Avon lady. And then they all apparently have the time and the freedom to just meet at the corner.
Yeah.
And literally they say, I'll meet you at the corner and stay there for hours. And then all the men, it starts like a train of cars that all come in and pull into their like respective driveways. And you see all the women run back and be like, oh, okay, see you later. See you tomorrow. And you're just like, wow. All the homes look almost identical. They just have different colors.
They're all just different colors.
I thought I saw a striped home and I was like, wow,
But it was
are
getting
really going.
fumigated.
But it's like everybody gets to have just a little bit of individuality, but not too much.
Right.
You still have the exact same house, but it can be a different color, but still all bright pastel colors.
My daughter howled the next day when all the cars pulled out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And like a big line. She didn't laugh at the reason that it was. She just thought it was hilarious how they were all trying to get out at the same time. Yeah. And then we get like where he's trying to put his clothes on, which I thought was fantastic. I like how he poked a hole in the waterbed.
And then moved the little stuffed animal over.
Yeah. So yeah, it was quite good. And he hears a phone and freaks out, and she's trying to introduce him to normal life.
Yeah.
Yeah. As their neighbors are curious about the newest house guest, the Boggs throw a neighborhood barbecue welcoming him. Is Kim home by now? No,
not yet.
No. I love the barbecue scene too. It was great. I like all the men interacting with him, and they do it just like you would, where they're like, "Oh, that's a mighty handshake you got there, Ed."
And then all the men start laughing,
sh-
and he just looks super uncomfortable, but kind of trying to smile. And I was like, man, this makes me think of every exchange student who's ever been.
Yeah.
Like
that's a good analogy.
In a North American like barbecue where they're like, I don't get the joke, but I'm gonna smile because
old guys making their dad jokes.
Yeah, because they're laughing. So I guess it was funny.
Yeah.
Maybe my English is not good enough for this.
And yeah, where he's doing the shish kebabs, and and the girls are trying to feed him because he's this new mysterious thing. Most of the neighbors are fascinated by Edward and befriend him, except for the eccentric, religious fanatic Esmeralda.
Yes, she's extra.
Yeah, and she's a great. She plays that character quite a bit. The girl who plays Esmeralda.
Yeah.
And she's fantastic at it. She does play. I'm trying to find her name. Olan Jones. Yeah. And Kim's supercilious boyfriend Jim. He didn't like him either.
Yeah, no.
Yes, because when she comes home, another great scene.
Yes.
He sees her, comes in, doesn't say a word, looks like he regrets not saying anything because she's starting to undress. She sees him in the mirror as she's trying to pop a pimple, and she just screams, and he screams, and he's just massacres the waterbed.
Yeah, he massacres the waterbed. It's like a whole thing. And as soon as Jim got out of that van, I was like, I am not going to like Jim. But it's also because Anthony Michael Hall for a very long time played assholes. Like after he kind of got out of his like teen years and he was into his like late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
It definitely, he was like, I am not a kid. I am now going to play that douchebag. I'm not this innocent, quirky, funny kid. And he really.
Yeah, he did it.
So as soon as you see his face, you're like, you're going to be such a dick.
Slasher Fred says Edward Scissorhands is almost like the reversal of Frankenstein, where the people seem to treat Edward like he is a person, but then after he makes one mistake, they all turn against him. Like, other than this does, I'm sure Frankenstein plays a big part in this movie.
There is a lot of Frankenstein. There is a lot of literally just a commentary on society as a whole.
I do like after, because he's scared the shit out of Kim and he's walking to leave and Bill grabs him and turns him around. They go downstairs to sleep on the pull-out couch and he gives him the alcohol. I did like that scene.
He says it's lemonade.
Yeah.
And
lemonade.
Then he drinks it like in one shot through the straw, and his face, like Johnny Depp does some very good work here. He doesn't say very much.
No.
But his face does say a lot.
I believe he says a total of 169 words. If you think that's a lot, it's not when you have, because I'm pretty sure he says 69,000 words in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
You say 169 words when I'm ordering a coffee.
Yeah.
Like in 3 minutes.
I say 169 words when my kids piss me off or I step on something they were supposed to put away.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are rated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Lego. Yeah. But yeah, it was very funny scene.
Oh yeah, it was a great scene. I forgot that was in there and I laughed so hard. Alan Arkin fucking kills it in this. He fucking kills it.
He does actually. He's actually he does. Yeah, the casting is phenomenal. Edward repays the neighborhood for their kindness by trimming their hedges into topiaries. And then progresses. But first, when he does what's her name first.
Yeah.
And then she offers him lemonade and he throws up. But everyone tells him what they want, and whatever bush they have, he makes like the big giant teddy bear. He makes the swans.
He makes everything. And as he's finishing up one, he sees a shaggy dog to his left, and he's like, "You can use a trim." Snip, snip. And then he just starts. Then you find out the dog was actually a poodle underneath. Who knew?
Yep. And progress into grooming dogs. And then later, styling the hair of the neighborhood women. One of the neighbors, Joyce, offers to help Edward open a hair salon so he can support himself. While scouting location, Joyce attempts to seduce him. Well, actually, he goes a lot of awkward moments where Kim and her friends are walking down the street, and Edward comes out running out to say hi, and
he's like, "Kim," and then they just mock him. And
they come over for dinner, and the one girl's sitting there watching Edward cut the roast beef.
Yeah,
and she's like, "I don't think I can eat that."
You touched it with your hands. I don't think that's sanitary. I'm sitting there going, okay. And then he drops the piece of meat in Kim's lap.
Yeah.
And then mom's like, "Oh," he's like, "Sorry."
Then he goes on the talk show.
Oh, yeah. Does that intense stare and then electrocutes himself a little bit.
Yeah. Then when they're scouting the location, Joyce attempts to seduce him, but scares him away.
I would be terrified too.
Yeah. Yeah, she was trying to... Yeah, she's very aggressive.
She's very aggressive. And honestly, kudos to her for wearing the latex underneath something. Because I was like, girl, are you not sweating buckets? That's ridiculous. But she basically jumps on him and then takes off her clothing.
Yeah.
Then poor Edward gets terrified and runs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and then just runs.
Then he goes to meet them at the diner and tells them the story. Then it's all normal until he's like, then Joyce took off all the clothes.
And it's funny because some of them are like, what the?
Except
and then
for
everybody's like, Bill's like, so let's keep this conversation going. Yeah, the salon will be great for you. You can make your own money. You'll learn so much.
Joyce lies to the neighborhood women that Edward forced himself on her, reducing their trust in him. Edward's dream of opening a salon is ruined when the bank refuses him a loan on the grounds that he has no assets or collateral and is not legally a human. Jealous of Kim's attraction to Edward, Jim takes advantage of his Let's try this again.
Naivete?
That's it, yeah. Naiveness. By asking him to pick the lock on his parents' home so he can steal his father's electronic goods and sell them to buy a van. Yeah, through the whole thing, he just wants to buy a van so he can bang Kim.
Yes.
That's the whole sole purpose.
So he lies. His life. He lies to Edward and says it's someone else's house or he has to get something from it. I can't even remember. I was just so mad through that entire. I'm like, don't, God damn it, Kim, grow a spine. Don't be a part of this. Tell Edward he shouldn't do this. But no, Kim doesn't want to make her boyfriend mad.
Edward agrees, but when he picks the lock, a burglar alarm is triggered and the walls come down, trapping Edward inside. Jim flees and Edward is arrested. This is where they have the psychologist or whatever saying that he's delusional and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
But not a harm.
No, he's not a danger to anyone.
No.
However, they're like, he's mad fucked up.
Yeah. The police determined that a lifetime of isolation has left Edward without any common sense or morality. Thus, he cannot be criminally charged. Edward nevertheless takes responsibility for the robbery, telling Kim that he did it because she asked him to. Consequently, he is shunned by the entire neighborhood except for the Boggs family. Yeah, this is where, it's where I'm starting to like being a little pissed off at Kim. I'm like, come on.
Kim was a very big disappointment through most of this.
Yeah.
She had zero compassion. And then until the point where he's like, I did it because you asked. And it was like, and that's when she realized, she's like, oh shit, like I have some responsibility in this. And then she kind of sees him in a new light. And then all of a sudden she's all like, but he's so sweet and soft spoken. And he's so cutesy.
At Christmas, Edward carves an angelic ice sculpture modeled after Kim. The ice shavings are thrown into the air and fall like snow, something that has never happened before in the town. Kim dances in the snowfall. Jim arrives suddenly, calling out to Edward, surprising him and causing him to accidentally cut Kim's hand. Jim accused Edward of intentionally harming her, but Kim, disgusted and fed up with Jim's jealous behavior towards Edward, breaks up with him. Still doesn't tell the truth.
No. Kim does not really speak up for Edward.
No. Ever.
She very, very quietly says, no, it's okay. I'm fine. And I'm like, girl, why are you not screaming?
Yeah.
He was just startled. Everything is fine. It was an accident. Jim barged in here, started screaming, freaked us out. Let's yell at him.
Yep.
Fuck you, Kim.
Meanwhile, Edward flees in a rage, destroying one of his works and scaring Esmeralda until he's calmed by a wandering dog. He doesn't just scare her hedges in front of the house, and he does that devil
he
one.
It into a demon. It's pretty funny. Like she's sitting there practicing her organ, and if you've ever played organ, let me tell you, she was doing great. She was doing really, really great. That shit's hard. Okay, playing the organ is hard. And then she turns around and she sees her hedge has been turned into a giant demon, and because of all the like candles that are lit in her house, it looks like it has red glowing eyes. I was like,
yeah,
oh, that's so good.
Kim's parents go out to find Edward while she stays behind in case he returns. Edward returns, finding Kim in there. She asks him to hold her, but Edward hesitates, afraid of hurting her again. Kim arranges Edward's Scissorhands so they can embrace. Jim's drunken friend drives him to Kim's house and nearly runs over Kevin, but Edward pushes Kevin to safety while inadvertently cutting him. Yeah, he should have saved him and then backed off because it looked like he was fucking Freddy Kruegering him in there for a minute.
Here's one thing I noticed through the entire movie. Whenever Edward is uncomfortable or nervous, his fingers do that little so I think that was happening, but not necessarily cutting Kevin. But we never really find out because they don't show us his face.
That's true.
So we know at least he got at least one cut, but we don't know how many cuts he got. And yes, he should have backed off. But also, Edward's not great with the social cues. And this was just another example of how Jim is a super douchebag that nobody stands up to.
Yeah, even his drunk
what
friend.
What the fuck? The man is drunk and he says, I'm either going to pass out or puke.
Yeah.
Jim says, drive me to Kim's house. He says, oh, man, don't make me. And he's like, do it. And he was like, okay. Sir, this is your van. Kick the fool out. You can do that. Anyways, weak people.
Witnesses accuse Edward of attacking Kevin. When Jim assaults him, Edward defends himself and injures Jim's arm before fleeing back to the inventor's mansion. Kim goes to find Edward. Jim obtains a gun, follows her, and shoots at Edward before grabbing a fire poker and starts beating him. Edward refuses to fight back until he sees Jim strike Kim, and as she attempts to intervene, enraged, Edward stabs Jim in the stomach and pushes him from the window of the mansion to his death.
That was very satisfying.
I was not expecting that.
Neither was I.
The tempo of this movie, I wouldn't expect a cold-blooded murder.
Because it was like, he had determination on his face when he shoved his hand into Jim and just kept walking.
Yeah.
Like, we're taking you out.
Even though he just committed murder, Kim confesses her love to Edward and kisses him as they accept that their love can never be fulfilled. As the neighbors gather, Kim convinces them that Jim and Edward killed each other, holding up an extra hand of blades she grabbed from a display case in the mansion as proof. This is where I have a problem with the movie. Let me explain. And I believe it's because Tim Burton was young at the time. How old was he? Hold on. 1958. Oh, I think it was like 31-ish. Okay, he should have known better. Kim is a bitch. Joyce is a whore. And Jim deserved to die. All Kim had to do was tell the truth. This isn't a sad ending. This is some grade A horseshit.
Okay, but I will, because there is a commentary on mob mentality in this.
Yes.
And so I see what he did there. And sometimes when the mob, I think he could have made it more poignant and clear on the commentary on mob mentality and how mobs work, where no matter how loud someone screams, the mob has already made their decision and they plow through. Their minds are not easily changed. I think the one thing he made a mistake in is keeping Kim's voice quiet, because you hear her saying, "No, that's not what happened. It was an accident." And then that's it. Like in the backyard after he cuts her hand. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Like she's not chasing after anyone and being like, "No, stop it," and having them still go forward. That would have been, I guess, a stronger kind of image. And it would have, like, because I think where he was going was, this was a mob. You can't change their minds.
No.
The only way to keep Edward safe is to let them think he's gone.
Yes, I agree. But up until that point, like everyone turned on Edward.
Yes.
Like the Peg and Bill, the entire town, because Kim's too afraid to tell the truth. She just had to say, "We did it. Edward didn't know. It's all our fault." What? You would have gotten grounded.
Not even that.
Eddie Scissorhands is just banished again to be alone forever. Kim got to go on and live her life. Looks like she had kids and they had kids, and she's having the time of her life telling stories to her granddaughter. Like, does it make you feel better, Kim?
Edward Still dancing in the snow.
Yeah, Edward's up there, happy as a pig in poop, sculpting ice sculptures and making it snow. When in reality, he died years ago of loneliness and starvation. He was Edward. Someone please talk to me, hands.
I don't think he needs to eat.
No, maybe not.
Or drink water. So I'm saying he's probably surviving and thriving just by himself, because he's like, it's nice and quiet up here. I can just make my topiaries.
No, I think the other explanation is he became so angry he turned into Freddy Krueger.
I mean, that too. Yeah. Very possible. Yeah. Very, very possible.
He got royally screwed. He can't masturbate. Oh, the humanity. Will someone please go to the top of the house and just touch Edward Scissorhands' privates? He'd be Edward Grateful Pants.
But does he actually have privates? I don't know.
Oh, he might not have privates.
Because he started out as a fucking part of like a machine, like a conveyor belt kind of cookie making machine. And then all of a sudden, Vincent Price, the inventor, picks up a heart-shaped cookie, stands it in front of his little cookie making machine robot and says, "I could do it."
Yeah.
And he starts making a human, because there was one scene where you're like, he's reading a book to
Those
Edward.
were all great scenes, by the way. With
so
Vincent
good.
Price.
Oh God. And then like Edward's
they're reading the books and
his torso is on the table and then his leg is like in front of him, detached from his body. And I'm like, oh right, Edward's not real. Took me a hot second to be like, he's not a real boy. Yeah, no, I think there were some things that could have endeared Kim to me a little more.
Yeah.
But I didn't give a fuck about her. My only feelings were for Edward Scissorhands.
Yes.
Everybody else in this movie can go fuck themselves.
Yes, because I did want a happy ending.
Everybody
and
wants a happy
you
ending.
could have had the truth come out, but Edward could have decided it's better for everyone for him to leave. This ending sucked. I did not like it.
I think
me and my 7-year-old pouted. We were like, fuck this.
I think it was a definite
bullshit.
Sad love story where you don't get the happy ending, which sucks balls.
Yeah.
But I think it was kind of fitting, because when you see how much they fit into this movie, and it's just, look, all of your bad choices have left people hurt and alone, except for Kim. Kim's fine.
Yeah,
but Jim's dead.
Yeah, Jim's dead.
Because that's what happens when you're a douchebag.
The mother now questions every decision going forward. The
Maybe
husband doesn't trust her decisions. But Kim's okay. Kim's okay.
Well, it's funny because up until they say their final goodbye and Kim walks out with like the hand, I was like, you could have ended it just after you killed Jim and the kiss and been done.
Yep.
And I would have been so incredibly happy. I would have been like, tell me the story without the grandmother part. Just leave it at that.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Okay, so the elderly woman revealing herself to be Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, big surprise. She sounded like Winona Ryder. She acted like Winona Ryder.
Who would have thought it was Winona Ryder?
Yeah, that's why smarter directors use older people. They say, hey, I need an old person. Male, female, about yay old. The casting director goes to Walmart, asks a greeter if they'd like to make $100, have all the pudding they want, and that person would be more believable than Winona Ryder as an old person. Don't get me wrong. I like Winona Ryder, not as that old person.
I know.
Or Kim. I do not like that character. She finishes telling her granddaughter the story and says that she never saw Edward again, hoping that by staying away, Edward would remember her as she was in her youth. Yeah, the lying bitch. She that's not me, that's Wikipedia. She believes he is still alive because it would not be snowing without him. Edward is then seen carving ice sculptures of his experiences with Kim that's so sad. With the bits of ice floating as snow in the wind. The elderly Kim, commenting on the snow, concludes with, sometimes you can even catch me dancing in it. I hope you swallow it and fucking choke on it. And that is our movie.
That's a little fucking harsh. She made some bad choices in her youth, okay? She made some bad choices. I was just she should die because of them.
The ending caught me off guard, and I was not expecting it. What's your score?
My score is a Rent It. And here's why. It is absolutely gorgeous. Like stunning. Beautiful set design, costume design, makeup. All of it is perfect. And everybody still looks like who they are on top of that. Like you see people's age on their skin and you see, their hands, and everybody's shaped differently. And it's wonderful casting, incredible casting. The score is gorgeous. The acting is amazing. Like it is a well thought out, well created movie. Here's the only reason why I'm saying rent it instead of buy it. It is a sad love story. And most of the sadness doesn't even come from they can't be together. It comes from this neighborhood is filled with absolute assholes who treat Edward Scissorhands like shit. And I don't know if, now I know why I haven't watched it in forever. And from 1990 to probably 2015, I had only watched it at most 10 times. At most. Stunning movie. Absolutely beautiful. And it is rewatchable visually. But the moment where you're like, you just feel gross at the end of it a little bit because you're like, God, people suck. People absolutely suck. So I don't know if it's that rewatchable for people that you would want to buy it. If you leave the movie being like, oh, that was gorgeous. That was wonderful. It was so good. But God, people suck. I think that's the only thing that stops me from buying it as opposed to renting it. But I do think it is definitely worth the price of a rental. I think it's worth the price of several rentals. I mean, if you're one of those people that can watch this movie over and over and over again and not get incredibly sad for Edward Scissorhands, then yeah, buy it. But I think rent is fairly safe because it's such a beautiful fucking movie. Anyways, what's your rating?
Actually, a lot of what you said is what I think as well. I have not seen this movie. I have never seen this movie before. This was my first time. It is 100% visually, and between the visuals and the audio, almost perfect. Actually, it might be perfect. Just the look, the shots, the sound, everything about it, the acting, it's very perfect. That third act, it didn't ruin it for me, but it didn't make me say this is a buy. Yeah. I agree. This is a rental. If you've never seen it and you like different movies and stuff, like I said, this is an actual fairy tale on screen. It just sounds like a fairy tale, looks like a fairy tale. They act as if they're like, it's so well done across the board. The third act killed it for me. Even if you remember liking it, I would rent it. I will watch it again. It's not going to be anytime soon. I could watch like the first hour easy.
Oh yeah.
And just watch the camera shots and the colors and all that stuff. It was fantastic. And then fucking Kim and Joyce, fucking killed it for. And Jim was supposed to be a douche. He played his part.
Yeah, Jim was a douche from the beginning. So
He
you were
was
like,
great.
fine.
Yeah.
And he got to come up in. So that was a happy ending for me. But I mean, like through it, that's what I'm saying. Like visually, orally, like it's just perfect. Even when there are parts where you're like, that makes me feel like shit. Still gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Still gorgeous.
Yeah. And I believe was it Tom Savini or Stan Winston? Stan Winston did the effects. Yeah, it was all. Vincent Price was supposed to have a bigger role, a much bigger role. He's very sick at the time. This was his last film, and he died a couple of years after this. He just was too ill to do it. But his scenes were great. Everybody in the movie was fantastic. It is 100%. It is a very wonderful movie to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah.
It just leaves you feeling a little sad at the end, or you a little mad. Leaves me feeling sad. It leaves me feeling really sad and just like, oh God, people suck. And it's it's one of those moments where you're like, I wanted Edward to have a happy ending, but he doesn't get it.
No,
everybody else does. And I feel like there's a moral in that story, but I don't want to explore it anymore. This movie has a lot.
Stab everybody.
You could do a dissertation on this movie.
Yeah. Stab everyone, get burnt, come back and haunt children's nightmares with your fucking scissor hands.
Oh
Edward Kruger hands. All right. So we have 2 Rent-Its. Yeah, I'm glad I watched it though. It was very as angry as I got. It was an experience.
This is a really, really honestly, this is a movie that needs to be taught in film school in every film curriculum.
Yeah.
Because it's damn near perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you can tell it's a well thought out, well planned, greatly executed film. And more people should aspire to this as opposed to some of the bullshit we're getting now.
Yes. Okay. Anything like to add for Edward Scissorhands?
No, not for Edward Scissorhands. I think I'm good with that. But I did want to let you know, since tomorrow is Valentine's Day, I have a Galentine's Day date with my friend Becca, and we're actually going to see Hard Eyes.
Hard Eyes. Oh, that's the horror movie.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're going to go see that tomorrow.
That just snuck out. I didn't realize until I think yesterday or the day before. Never even heard of it until. But yeah, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, we originally were going to go to a rage room, but scheduling one of those I was like, why are they all so far away and have weird schedules? And I was like, let's just go watch a slasher. And she was like, that sounds amazing. So that's what we're doing tomorrow. So I will have a little mini review for that for next week if you want.
Did you watch Nosferatu yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. I was about to watch it, and then my kids were there, and we put it to a vote, and we watched Sonic the fucking Hedgehog 3. Not Nosferatu.
I'm sorry.
Actually, surprisingly, the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was actually very funny.
My niece said the same thing because she took her little brother there to watch that with their mom, and she was like, it was surprisingly good.
Yeah, it was actually, I think it was, I might have been, I don't know if it's the best one, but Keanu Reeves is the new Sonic one.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey, Jesus Christ, he played 2, that's just another version of himself. Yeah, very well done.
Yeah. No, she said it was also a lot funnier for the adults.
Yes. I pouted for a while as we were watching it because I wanted to watch Nosferatu, and it's my home and my fucking TV, but whatever. And then I started giggling and got into the movie. So yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, we have 2 Rent-Its for Edward Scissorhands.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's a Rent-It, it is one of the most stunningly beautiful looking, beautiful sounding movies I have seen in a long, long time.
It is a must watch. Rent It.
Yeah. What is it? 35 years old now? Oh,
shut up. Don't say stuff like that. Dude, why you gotta say stuff like that?
Well, thanks for going back to 35 years ago, 1990, and watching Edward Scissorhands. And until the next movie we remember liking.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking.